we have a roll call?
Councilman Samaluka. Councilwoman Mazer.
Here.
Councilwoman D'Arminio.
Here.
Councilman Accomando will be here. He's running a few minutes late. And Council President Camilleri.
Here.
And our Township Engineer is ill and will not be here this evening.
Please rise for a salute to the flag, and we're going to remain standing in memory of Edward Scipiola, former mayor and Township Committee member. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on January 29th, 2016, and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
Okay, we're going to have a few presentations at this time.
Good evening. It's my pleasure tonight to acknowledge outgoing Fire Chief Douglas Haberman. I want to thank Doug for all his years of service, not only as the fire chief, but as a fireman and firefighter, I should say. And Doug is also a police sergeant with us at the Saddlebrook Police Department. He's a very dedicated individual. He always gives 100% to ensure the public safety. In my mind, he exemplifies what it means to be a volunteer, in that he does so much for others, for the good of others, and, without doing for himself. So he gives so much of himself for others, what I'm trying to say. I know Doug personally, and it was difficult for him to juggle being a police sergeant and also being the fire chief for the volunteer fire department. And he did a very, very good job. As many of you know, I was the deputy chief of police, and he was able to, we were concerned about that because it's not always easy to do, but he did an excellent job balancing those two out. I want to thank his wife and children who are here tonight for their personal sacrifices that they've made so he could fulfill his role as the fire chief and as a firefighter. It's not easy, I'm sure, when you have family plans and last minute those plans get canceled because duty calls, and so you have to sometimes take that back seat, and I'm sure that's not easy. I know that he's looking forward to, and I'm sure his family, some rest and from the responsibilities of being the fire chief and spending more time with his family. I have a present for him tonight. Excuse me while I bend over. Okay, I have this. This is an official flag that was flown over our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. This was given to him by United States Congressman Bill Pascrell. I have a letter here that I'm going to read that was signed, written by Congressman Pascrell. Why don't you come on? Okay, this letter was written to Douglas Haberman, Chief Douglas Haberman of the Saddlebrook Volunteer Fire Department. Dear Chief Haberman, as chairman of the Congressional Fire Service Caucus, I want to take this opportunity to wish you all the best in your retirement as chief of the Saddlebrook Fire Department. I congratulate you on a career of achievement and thank you for your distinguished service to your town. You have been a leader, a mentor, and a protector to many in Saddlebrook. Throughout many years, you have risen in rank due to hard work and dedication as chief led the department in an era of challenges never before imagined. While the list of your achievements is long, it is your leadership that will be greatly missed by all. You have influenced generations of new firefighters and have been on the forefront of adapting the roles of public safety efforts to meet the ever-changing needs of the community. Your years of service to the citizens of Saddlebrook will never be forgotten and are true testaments of your dedication to improving the quality of life for everyone. I am pleased to represent such a dedicated public servant in Congress. While I am sad to see you leave as chief, I know your work for others will continue, and I wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. Sincerely, Bill Pasquale, Jr., Member of Congress. Very, very good. You want to say a few words, Doug?
Sure, why not?
Go ahead.
It really was a pleasure and an honor to serve as the fire chief for Saddlebrook. I truly believe we have one of, if not the best fire department around. Been on the fire department since I'm 16 years old, so I think I took my first position of rank at 19, 20 years old. So I'm 38 now, so it's been a long time. I am enjoying the rest and being home every night. My wife's not sick of me being there yet, so we'll see. But I know my girls are definitely loving it, so I just want to thank the township, mayor, council, Pete, and all the other employees at Town Hall who definitely helped me out and, you know, support the fire department as much as they did. You know, we can't do what we do without the support that we get, and we truly are very lucky. We say it all the time, other departments don't get the support from their towns that we get, so it's greatly appreciated. Thanks. I'm sure. 10 minutes.
Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is Council President Camilleri had a moment of silence for Edward Scipiola, who was a former mayor back in the 60s. And he was also a township committee member. He was one of the first Democrats. He died last month, January 19th, at the age of 92. And I'm going to say a little bit about him, and this is for our 300th anniversary, which we're going to try to, each meeting, talk a little bit about people and the things that were going on in the past. So Ed served on the Township Committee from January 1st, 1963, until the change in government, July 1st, 1969. The Township Committee form of government, which we had back then, consisted of a five-member committee elected by the voters. The Township Committee themselves selected one of their own to serve as what they called the chairman, and also called, that the chairman was called the mayor. So back in 1963, these are some things that were going on back when we went through the minutes. And I got to thank Peter Ladico for going through the minutes and digging up all these gems I have here. But anyway, in 1963, sewers were just being installed, so there was a lot written about that. Passaic Valley Sewerage, the bill for that year, we didn't have that much going into the sewers at that time because they were just being built, was $3,311.54. Today, we spend about $850,000 a year. So, big difference. The schools were all designated as fallout shelters. The municipal budget for that year was almost $537,000. The school budget was obviously more at $1,374,000. Some things that were going on. The chief of police then was he was Rubeck. This was his name, Police Chief Rubeck. He had requested from the committee some things, and one of the main things he was looking for was at Market and Main Street, which we all know today it's the same today as it was back then. But he had the foresight to say to the committee that he wanted to widen it to 3 lanes, you know, to lessen the traffic there. Also, he requested traffic lights at Market and Westminster, Market and Mayhill, and Market and Fifth. The one at Market and Westminster was installed about 2 years after that, but the other ones were just recently put up, were erected. So, we also had he requested, which was done, to rescind a bicycle license that was in effect for many years, and he said it was too cumbersome to keep track of, of the bicycles and enforce it. He also introduced a resolution that year to allow the township committee members to speak before the budget was actually voted on, which was defeated. So they didn't want any of the council to talk about the budget. A park on Emma Place, which is now Kern Place, was established after receiving a petition from the neighbors in that area. So that's been since 1964, or 63, I should say, that park's been there. Also, the construction of the tennis courts across from the high school was done that year at a cost of $18,100. 1964, Ed was appointed Commissioner of Veteran Services. Then in 65, he was appointed Fire Commissioner and a Deputy Mayor. That year, primary elections statewide were changed from the third Tuesday in April to the first Tuesday in June, which they now still are. Get this one, gasoline was bid at 15 cents a gallon. A new Chevy police car was $4,002. They also talked about a need for a traffic light at Paley and Midland and a blinker in front of the Marriott Hotel. The blinker never happened, but the light at Paley and Midland was done much later. I'm not sure when. I should know, but I don't. 1966, he was appointed mayor and public works commissioner. That year, there was rezoning of 280 North Midland Avenue, that tract of land there, which everybody knows is now Zuckerberg's, to a light industrial use. They talked a lot about traffic delays, the train on Midland Avenue, and Mayor Scipiola had asked if tickets could be issued to the railroad for blocking the road. So we still have that same issue. Finnegan Ave apartments were just approved to be built. We started a lawsuit with the county because we had donated 15 acres behind Coolidge School. We wanted that land back, and from the park. We donated it to the park, and then we wanted it back, but we weren't successful. So that was probably not a good idea, and we never did get that back, as we know. Route 46 pedestrian bridge started construction, and that was, the town was very insistent with the state, because we had children that were living south of Route 46 that needed to walk to Franklin School, and they didn't want to cross 46, so that got done. A lot about drainage problems on Victor Street. Here's a good one. Mayor Scipiola made a motion, he was ahead of his time, for a Christmas decorating contest, and no one seconded the motion. So it went down, but he had, he was thinking ahead. On a somber note, we had Private First Class Howard Goldberg was the first Saddlebrook resident that died serving our country in Vietnam. 1967, we had no mayor that was there selected for 73 days. There was a lot of infighting. The Republicans had the majority, and finally, one of the Democrats had suggested that a newcomer, Steve Cuccio, be named the mayor, and it ended up that the Republicans, they agreed, they voted, I think it was 3-2, but he was made mayor. But there was a lot of letters written, and that the town was really in bad shape. We were the laughing stock of the state because we didn't have a mayor. So there was also a petition opposing a pony track on Laterra property. That's where the Terra Mini Mall is now, and Mr. Laterra withdrew his request, his application. Mr. Scipiola was appointed by the committee to the planning board. They talked a lot about senior housing. During that time, they began vacating the old Paley Avenue for Park 80 Plaza buildings, and the deed for Lincoln School, which stood right where we are now, is where, where Town Hall was eventually built, was transferred to the Volunteer Ambulance Corps. So we had a lot of interesting things that went on, and it's funny how history repeats itself because we're still talking about a lot of these same things. But thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public to the meeting.
Motion.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Camilleri?
Yes. The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak? Going once? No one? Seeing no one, I would entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Camilleri?
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion.
No. Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
And Council President Camilleri?
Yes.
We have item under new business, Mr. President.
Developers agreement?
That's a resolution?
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Abstain.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Camilleri?
Yes. Comments. Any old business? Andrew?
I usually wrap it all
You wanna wrap it all
at
up?
one time, yeah.
Karen?
I forget it's confusing what's old, new, and comments, so I'll just, when it comes time to that, I'll just say everything I have to say.
Open the meeting back up. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the meeting back up to the public for agenda items only.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer? Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Camilleri?
Yes. The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Councilwoman DiArminio?
Yes.
Council President Camilleri?
Yes. Mayor, comments?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I have a few. Regarding the budget, I just want everyone to know that we're waiting on the final numbers regarding state aid. Business Administrator Ladico and CFO Ray Carnaval and myself are meeting with Town Auditor Steve Walcott's on Monday. We're going to go over the town's finances and look into what kind of surplus we have from 2005 and look at the tax appeal situation. Regarding the resolution to extend the ground lease to Bergen County Housing, I want to thank the council for approving that lease. That was my recommendation, and I think we all feel very strongly about getting this project done for our seniors. The municipal court is back in town. I want to thank Judge Nasarenko and all the court staff for their cooperation and assistance with a smooth transition. I'm very happy that they're back here at home. I think it's more convenient for all. Our Violations Bureau is now open every day. They don't have to close to go over to Lodi, and I just feel there's no confusion about where our court is held. It's held here in Saddlebrook, where I believe it belongs. I want to praise the town for the response to the snowstorm. I want to thank the residents for their patience and cooperation. I think that they were very good throughout. Most people stayed home, which was recommended, and I'm glad they did. Special thanks to the Department of Public Works. Their employees worked very long hours and very grueling shifts. And it was a tough storm because there was so much snow coming down so quickly, about 2 inches an hour for many of the 16 hours of the storm, so it was hard to keep up with it. I also want to commend our emergency management team for planning and directing the activities during the storm. Councilman Accomundo, the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, took a big role in this planning. Also for keeping the public alert, updated and alerted about what was happening. I also appreciate the efforts of all the emergency responders, the police department, fire department, ambulance corps. They were standing by and ready if needed and responded to calls during this massive storm. Lastly, I want special thanks to the Boy Scout Troop 213, who went out on Saturday and shoveled a few houses where people could not, where they were either disabled or elderly and were not able to do it. And they did so, which was very nice of them. I just want to remind property owners about our fire hydrant ordinance. I think the town, in the upcoming weeks, we're going to be reminding those property owners that they are required to shovel around the hydrants. I believe personally that perhaps some of them are not aware that we even have the ordinance. So I think as a town, we got to do a better job of getting that out to the public. Grant writer update, the direct install program with public service for energy efficient improvements, lights, heating, and air conditioning upgrades. That grant, what happens there is public service pays 100% of the cost to install energy efficient measures, and the town has to repay 30% back in a lump sum or over interest-free over 36 months. That application's in. We should hear back March 1st on that. The Assistance for Firefighters grant for 2015, which is a federal grant to enhance capabilities for fire-related hazards. The grant writer worked very well with our fire officials, with Chief Haberman and Chief Dickman and Assistant Chief Sloma to sit down and go over everything. They applied for approximately $188,000, and we should hear something back in March with that. We're also going to apply for this New Jersey DEP grant for reducing water quality impairment through pollution control projects. What that does is they're looking to improve watershed plans and green infrastructure projects, which we're in the process of doing now anyway. Then there's one last one, Economic Development Assistance, which is a grant or a loan for between $100,000 and $300,000 to repair sewers, pump station upgrades, and catch basin repairs. Our township website has now finally been launched this past weekend. I think it looks very good. It provides better information, improves communication. Also using the latest technology, using something called response design, which you can go on on the website using any device, and the screen, it fits the size of your device. So, any information or anything, any comments that the public might have about that, we're all ears, and we're looking to improve it, and put out the best website around. We are also increasing, I'm very pleased to announce the expansion of our senior citizens transportation services, the bus. The township will now be offering bus transportation to and from bingo, the Saddlebrook Senior Center on Wednesdays and Fridays. If any senior is interested, you could reserve a seat with Joe Lecce, and his phone number is 201-845-4594. Also, Chicken Bingo is going to be Sunday, February 28th, starting at 12 noon at the Senior Center, if anyone's interested. March is Women in History Month, so anyone, council, or anybody from the public that would like to nominate someone for consideration, please forward that request, call or email to my secretary. Also want to acknowledge February is American Heart Month. Heart disease is a leading cause of death amongst men, so I encourage all men to live a more healthy lifestyle. I should take my own advice. But, and lastly, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
No, I have nothing.
well, council comments?
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Doug and his beautiful family for awesome leadership, and also, Melissa, I'm sure you guys had to endure a lot of sacrifices. We totally appreciate it. And also, we'd like to congratulate Tom on your new appointment, and also Chris, we're here for you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that with Doug. Congratulations. No more selfies of the fire chief. Now it'll just be police officer and citizen Doug. Tom Dickman, Chris Sloma, congratulations on being named as chief and assistant chief. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the ambulance corps dinner this Saturday, but I want to thank them along with all our volunteers and everything that they do. And we were able to, I think, Mayor, you can say it better than me. I think we upped our contribution to the ambulance corps, $10,000, I think it was. Which they greatly appreciated, and we appreciate them. In terms of that fire hydrant law, that is a current ordinance, and I think we were ahead of the curve, and I think Joe Camilleri was the one who came up with that originally, and that was passed unanimously. I think everyone was in favor of that. But like I said, we were ahead of the curve because the New Jersey State Legislature is about to pass a state law requiring that. So right now it's local, it's going to be a state law. In terms of the digital sign, we talked about it. We've talked about it a couple of times in other meetings. I think we're looking for a third quote on that to get something up on Market Street. And this is for the rest of the council. I passed out a picture. We spoke about it at the work session in terms of Hayes Drive, my street. I'm at the other end of the street, but at the intersection of Hayes and Midland, apparently there's a bus stop close by. So there's a lot of people that park dangerously, in my opinion, close to the intersection. I showed a picture, and there's a picture here, which I can pass out. But what happens is it's a very rounded curb. So when people come around that curb, they're faced with a vehicle like this. They have to move basically into the other lane to avoid it. And there are many near accidents. I'm not sure how many accidents, if any, there have been, but it drives some people, especially my wife, crazy. And I did get a call from a police officer saying, did your wife call about that again? And it wasn't her, it was somebody else. So other people apparently are being affected. This person just parked ridiculously close to the end. I am requesting and suggesting that the police look into this and that it be made a 50 feet from the corner. The problem is that it is such a rounded curve that if you measure it back, it's more than 25 feet, but it's really not. It's 25 feet from Midland, only because it's got that rounded curve. In regard to signs, I've also gotten texts, emails, videos sent to me about Leicester Avenue. There is the Acme Trucking Company, I don't know what it's called, but they're down at the end of Leicester. Leicester's pretty much a dead end, but tractor trailers are not supposed to go down that street. There is a sign that says no trucks. The problem is that you don't see the sign until you actually turn onto Leicester. It's about 20 feet into Leicester. I'm going to suggest and ask that the police look into that a sign facing north, on Erie, facing northbound, before you get to Leicester, which says no trucks, right-hand turn, something to that effect. This way, they're not down there, because what they end up doing is they go down there, and then they have to back up. It just causes a myriad of problems, especially with that new light that's been installed right over there. Another problem that I've heard about, and we may want to check into, that in some places, in other towns I've seen it, at certain intersections, there is a sign that says, stop on red, then turn, or turn on red after stopping, something like that. Because what's happening over there apparently is that people aren't turning right on red, and it's causing a major backup over there. So just going to ask that the police look into that. I agree with the mayor. The DPW, I think, did a fabulous job, and I believe that we got the word out, get the cars off the streets. I did not really see, as opposed to last winter, I did not see a lot of cars on the streets. The officers in the audience would know better, because they were actually patrolling, but I believe that we got the word out, and people listened. One of the things that we have here in a resolution, we approved a contract to let somebody collect our debts. After, the problem with municipal courts is that people come in and they say, there's a $500 fine, and they'll say something to the effect of, I'll give you $200 now, and I'll pay you whenever. And they just chase them, and chase them, and chase them, and we lose a lot of revenue. After a certain period of time, they're going to get kind of a drop-dead letter. If you don't pay by a certain time, we're going to get these people after you. We don't really feel the cut, because there'll be a surplus that they charge for going after these people. So I think that's a good way of getting more revenue. One of the things we imposed, or we did a couple years ago, was allowing credit cards to be used, which I thought was a great idea. And this is a second good idea for the municipal court to get our revenues up. Access for All Committee, I've been talking about that. Finally, I did not get any calls back. I personally went today to see Freeholder Di Nicola. I talked to her aide, and we have gotten a date of March 2nd. It's Wednesday, March 2nd, 7:30, and I've checked with Joe Lici over at Senior Center. It's available, so that's when it's going to be. If anyone's on that committee and is watching this, you're going to get a notice from me, an email, but just to let you know, Mayor, obviously, and we'll do that. And I was also advised that we can attend one of their meetings in Fairlawn, because Fairlawn's been up and running for a while, and Mayor Cosgrove over there has given an open invite to check out what they've been doing. Let's see. The other thing. Good news is that we had a presentation by our healthcare provider, or healthcare representative, and indicated that the numbers have come in, and we saved approximately $400,000 in healthcare by using this difference card. For anyone who's employed by the town, it might have taken a little bit to get used to it, but it saved $400,000 in the projection. If you project it out, it's a couple $1 million over 4 or 5 years. So, I think we did the right thing by going into that. It worked out. The projection was 200 plus. It was better than projected. And I think last but not least, Black History Month, February, next Thursday, 6 o'clock at the County Plaza. They'll be having a presentation and a ceremony over there. And I said a couple of months ago, when some lady came up and said if somebody said something, and did I take it personal? And I said no, and I said I'd be worried if somebody wasn't here. Well, somebody's not here, so I am worried, and best wishes to Larry Ratajczyk. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Andrew. Todd, you have anything? Comments?
I heard it talked about the DPW. I just wanted, they did a fantastic job. I was out there myself doing some cleanup, and for people, I've got some people complaining, but not in a negative way, but the average homeowner couldn't keep up his sidewalks. So to put that burden on 7 guys to clean up the whole town, you guys did a great job, so hats off to you. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Todd. I just would like to personally thank Doug Haberman for what he's done, and I know him personally. He does go above and beyond, and that's why we are such a great town. Tom, Chris, you know, we're here for you guys, and best of luck to you. I would just like to comment on the DPW as well. It seems like we go from one extreme to another extreme. We go from no storm, no snow, to a major storm, and it was a major storm. It's over 20-some-odd inches, and it's a big cleanup, and I think that they did a great job. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, and that's all I have. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Adjourn. Roll call.
Councilman Simaluka. No. Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Councilwoman D'Arminio.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Camilleri.
Yes.
Can't believe it.